The balloons were half deflated, swaying in the breeze from the open window. Lily stood beside the pink frosted cake, her tiny hands clapping with pure joy. "Mommy, Mommy, can we cut it now?" Her voice was music, innocent and bright. I smiled, gripping the knife handle. Then I heard the chair scrape. My sister Amanda stood up first, checking her phone. "Actually, I've got better things to do," she muttered. My stomach dropped. My brother Marcus followed, shrugging. "Yeah, this is kind of boring." One by one, they left. My mother whispered something to my father, and they walked out together without even looking back. Lily's smile faltered. Her little face crumpled with confusion. "Mommy, where's everyone going?" I felt my chest tighten, rage flashing hot through my veins. My name is Jessica Williams, and I could not believe what was happening. My entire family had just abandoned my daughter on her 5th birthday. The room suddenly felt enormous and empty. The decorations I had spent hours hanging mocked me with their cheerfulness. I wanted to scream, to chase after them and demand an explanation. But I couldn't move. I just stood there, frozen, watching the door close behind the last of them. I knelt down to Lily's level, forcing my trembling hands to stay steady. "Sweetie, they're just busy," I lied, my throat tight. Her big brown eyes searched mine, confused and hurt. "But why didn't they say goodbye?" I didn't have an answer that wouldn't break her heart further. Inside, my blood boiled. How could they choose anything over her? Every snub, every dismissive comment, every unkind word they had ever thrown at me came rushing back. This wasn't just about today. This was years of subtle cruelty, years of being treated like I didn't matter. And now they had done it to my daughter. I hugged Lily tight, feeling her small body shake slightly. "We're going to have the best party anyway," I whispered. But inside, I was already planning. They would not get away with this. Not this time. The silence in the room was deafening. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall, each second marking another moment of abandonment. Lily pulled back from the hug and looked around at the empty chairs. "Can we still have cake?" she asked in a small voice. My heart shattered, but I forced myself to smile brightly. "Of course we can, baby." The memories flooded back as I tried to smile for Lily. Every holiday where they mocked my homemade gifts. Every school recital they skipped because they had more important plans. The whispered comments during family dinners, the eye rolls when I tried to share good news. My sister always competed for attention, turning every conversation back to herself. My mother dismissed my emotions, calling me too sensitive whenever I dared to complain. My father cared only about appearances, about how things looked to neighbors and friends. None of them ever truly cared about me. I remembered my wedding, where they spent the entire reception complaining about the venue. I remembered when Lily was born, and they visited for 20 minutes before leaving to watch a football game. This pattern had always been there, clear as day. I had just been too hopeful to see it. I had made excuses for them for years, telling myself they were just busy or stressed. But the truth was simpler and uglier than that. They were selfish. They had always been selfish, and I had been foolish enough to keep expecting them to change. Now they had hurt my innocent daughter, and something inside me snapped. The hope I'd carried for so long finally died. Tears stung my eyes, but I blinked them away. Lily was watching me, and I refused to let her see me break. I made a choice right then, standing in that room with half-eaten cake and abandoned plates. I would not let them get away with this. Lily deserved better. She deserved a family that showed up, that cared, that celebrated her. Since my blood family couldn't do that, I would build something better. Revenge would not be loud or cruel. It would be smart, methodical, and justified. I would create a life so full of joy and love that their absence would be painfully obvious. I would document every moment they missed, every milestone they ignored. And when the time came, everyone would see exactly who they were. I wiped my hands on my jeans and smiled at Lily. "Let's have cake, baby. Just you and me." We sat together at the table, just the two of us, and I cut the cake with shaking hands. Lily ate her slice slowly, her usual enthusiasm dampened by confusion. I took photos on my phone, capturing this moment for evidence. Evidence of their cruelty, their thoughtlessness. This was the beginning of something new. A new chapter where we would thrive without them. The next morning, I called 3 of Lily's closest friends' parents. I know this is last minute, but would your kids be free next weekend for a small party? I asked, keeping my voice steady. They all said yes immediately, commenting on how sweet Lily was. I organized everything carefully: balloons, games, pizza, goodie bags. This time, there would be no family drama. Just kids laughing and having fun. When Lily found out, her face lit up like fireworks. Really, Mommy? Another party? Her joy reminded me exactly why I needed to act carefully. My family didn't deserve to know how happy we could be without them. I posted nothing online, said nothing to anyone outside our small circle. This was our secret victory, our quiet reclaiming of joy. Watching Lily giggle with her friends the following Saturday, I felt the first spark of justice. They had abandoned her, but she was surrounded by people who truly cared. The other parents were kind and genuine, asking about Lily's interests and complimenting her manners. None of them knew about the disaster from the previous week. This party was about healing, about showing Lily that she was loved and valued. As the afternoon went on, I saw her confidence returning. She laughed freely, played without hesitation. A few days later, I ran into Amanda at the grocery store. She was bragging loudly on her phone about some beach vacation she was planning. When she saw me, she barely acknowledged my presence. "Oh, hey," she said flatly, not even asking about Lily. I smiled politely, nodding. But inside, I was already planning my next move. I found out through a mutual friend that my family was hosting a big barbecue the following month. Everyone would be there: cousins, aunts, uncles. I made sure to schedule a special playdate for Lily that same day, inviting her friends and their parents to a park picnic. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud. Just ensuring that when my family gathered to celebrate themselves, Lily and I would be elsewhere, surrounded by people who actually cared. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. I was taking control, one careful step at a time. Amanda finished her phone call and turned to me with a fake smile. "So, how's Lily?" she asked, as if she actually cared. "She's wonderful," I replied simply, not elaborating. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of knowing how much pain she'd caused. I pushed my cart past her and continued shopping. She had expected tears or anger, but I gave her nothing. A week after the disaster birthday, I posted a few candid photos of Lily online. Nothing mean-spirited, just joyful moments, her laughing with friends, blowing out candles at the second party, hugging her best friend. The likes poured in. Distant relatives I barely knew commented, "What a beautiful celebration," and "Lily looks so happy." My immediate family saw nothing. They had already ignored the original party, so they ignored these posts too. But I noticed something interesting. Other people started noticing their absence. A cousin messaged me privately, "Where was everyone?" I replied simply, "They had other plans." No drama, no accusations. Just facts. The seed was planted. People were starting to see the pattern, even if they didn't say it out loud. Small victories were accumulating, and I felt a quiet satisfaction building inside me. Each photo I posted was carefully chosen to show genuine happiness, real connection. There were no staged shots or forced smiles. Just authentic moments of joy that my family had chosen to miss. The contrast between these photos and their absence spoke volumes without me saying a word. I watched the comments roll in, each one a tiny validation. Friends from college, neighbors, distant relatives, they all saw the love surrounding Lily. And they noticed who wasn't there. I was at the pharmacy when I overheard my mother on the phone in the next aisle. She didn't know I was there. "Jessica makes everything so dramatic," she complained to whoever was listening. It was just a birthday party. Kids don't even remember those things. My jaw clenched. I gripped my shopping basket tighter, forcing myself to stay silent. Every negative word she said, every dismissive comment, would fuel my careful plan. I wouldn't confront her now. That would give her ammunition, let her paint me as the emotional, unstable daughter she always claimed I was. Instead, I smiled to myself and walked away. Her words were evidence, proof of her mindset. I made a mental note, adding it to the growing list of slights and cruelties. When the time came, every detail would matter. Patience was my weapon now. I finished my shopping and drove home, replaying her words in my mind. The casual cruelty of dismissing a child's feelings was exactly who she was. She genuinely believed that emotions didn't matter, that hurt feelings were inconsequential. This wasn't new information, but hearing it stated so plainly crystallized my resolve. I wouldn't waste energy trying to make her understand. She was incapable of both. Instead, I would focus on protecting Lily and building our independent life. Lily's school held a small recital the following week. The kids sang simple songs, their voices sweet and off-key. I arrived 30 minutes early, claiming a front row seat. My phone was ready to record every second. Lily spotted me and waved enthusiastically, her face glowing. My parents had been invited, Lily had made them special hand-drawn invitations. They didn't show. Later, my mother texted, "Sorry, we had a business lunch we couldn't miss." A business lunch on a Wednesday afternoon. I didn't respond. Instead, I watched as Lily's teacher approached me after the performance. "You're always here," she said warmly. "Lily is so lucky to have such an attentive mom." I smiled, thanking her. That simple comment felt like validation. My presence mattered. Their absence was their own choice, and people were starting to notice. Other parents congratulated me on Lily's performance, making small talk about upcoming school events. I engaged genuinely, building connections with people who valued the same things I did. These were the relationships that mattered, not the toxic ties of blood family. As we walked to the car, Lily held my hand tightly. "Did you like my singing, Mommy?" she asked. "I loved it, baby." "You were perfect," I replied, meaning every word. She didn't mention her grandparents' absence. That night, I started a private journal. Nothing fancy, just a simple notebook where I documented every missed event, every dismissive comment, every instance of neglect. I wasn't being petty, I was being strategic. This was evidence, a clear pattern that anyone could see. I wrote about the birthday party, the recital, the overheard phone call. I included dates, times, and exact quotes when I could remember them. This wasn't about revenge in the traditional sense. It was about protecting Lily and myself, about creating a record that proved we weren't the problem. When the time came, and I knew it would, I would have everything I needed to show the world exactly who my family really was. Writing it all down felt strangely therapeutic, like I was reclaiming my own narrative. For years, they had controlled the story, painting me as oversensitive or difficult whenever I objected to their treatment. Now I was documenting the truth in black and white. Facts didn't lie. Patterns didn't lie. I filled pages with memories, some recent and some from years past. The consistency was striking even to me. They had never valued me, never respected my boundaries, never celebrated my achievements. And now they were doing the same thing to my daughter. But unlike me, Lily wouldn't grow up doubting herself. The following weekend, I organized a surprise Lily Appreciation Day with 5 of her closest friends. We went to the Children's Museum, had lunch at her favorite pizza place, and ended with ice cream. My family had no idea it was happening. I posted nothing online, told no one outside our small circle. Lily's face glowed the entire day. She hugged me tight at bedtime, whispering, "This was the best day ever, Mommy." My heart swelled. This was what mattered, creating genuine joy, building memories that weren't tainted by toxic family dynamics. I watched her sleep that night, her small chest rising and falling peacefully. My plan was working. I was building a life they couldn't touch, a happiness they couldn't diminish. Every smile on Lily's face was proof that we didn't need them. We were thriving despite their absence. The museum had been full of wonder, interactive exhibits that made Lily's eyes light up with curiosity. She'd asked a million questions, her natural enthusiasm fully unleashed without family members there to dismiss her. At the pizza place, her friends had sung happy birthday again, unprompted. The other parents had joined in, clapping and cheering. This was what love looked like. This was what family should be. Not blood relations who couldn't be bothered to show up, but people who chose to be present. 2 weeks later, my family hosted their big summer barbecue. The invitation came through a group text. Everyone's expected. No excuses. I stared at the message, feeling the old familiar pressure to comply, to show up and pretend everything was fine. Then I remembered Lily's crumpled face at her birthday party. I replied simply, "Sorry, we have prior commitments." My phone exploded with messages. Amanda accused me of being dramatic. My mother called me selfish. Marcus sent a laughing emoji, as if my absence was a joke. I turned off my phone and took Lily to the park picnic I had planned. We flew kites, ate sandwiches, and laughed with families who actually cared about us. Later, I heard through a cousin that my family complained about my absence the entire barbecue. Good. Let them feel what it's like to be dismissed. The park was beautiful that day, sunshine filtering through the trees and a gentle breeze keeping us cool. Lily ran freely with her friends, their laughter echoing across the grass. One of the mothers brought homemade cookies, another organized relay races for the kids. Everyone contributed something, creating a sense of community and shared joy. This was what gatherings should feel like: relaxed, genuine, fun. Not the tense, performative events my family always hosted. Over coffee with my best friend Nicole, I finally let everything out. "They walked out on her birthday," I said, my voice shaking. "Who does that to a 5-year-old?" Nicole reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "They're awful, Jess. But don't let them steal your happiness." Her words struck something deep inside me. She was right. Revenge didn't need to be cruel or dramatic. It was about creating a life they couldn't touch, building joy they couldn't diminish. I realized then that my plan wasn't really about making them suffer. It was about proving, to myself, to Lily, to everyone, that we were better off without them. That their presence wasn't necessary for our happiness. That their absence was actually a gift, freeing us from their toxicity. I left that coffee shop feeling lighter, more focused. I knew exactly what I needed to do. Nicole had been my friend since college, one of the few people who truly understood my family dynamics. She'd witnessed their treatment of me over the years, had seen how they dismissed my accomplishments and minimized my feelings. "You're not crazy," she said firmly. "You're not overreacting. They're genuinely toxic, and you're doing the right thing by protecting Lily." Those words meant more to me than she could know. For so long, I doubted myself. But Nicole's validation confirmed what I already knew. I hosted a small gathering for Lily's friends' parents the following month. Nothing fancy, just snacks and conversation while the kids played. I carefully scheduled it to overlap with a family reunion my parents were hosting. Several relatives who lived nearby were invited to both events. 3 of them chose mine. They told me later, quietly, that they were tired of the drama and negativity at family events. "Your gathering felt genuine," one aunt said. Everyone was actually happy. I smiled, thanking her. This was exactly what I wanted, to create an alternative, to show people that kindness and authenticity were better than appearances and control. My parents heard about it, of course. My mother called, her voice tight with anger. "You deliberately scheduled that to compete with our reunion." I stayed calm. "No, Mom. I just wanted Lily to have fun with her friends." Click. She hung up. Another small victory. The gathering had been spontaneous and warm, with parents sharing parenting stories and kids playing cooperatively in the backyard. We'd ordered pizza and set up a simple craft station where the kids decorated picture frames. There were no rigid schedules, no performances, no expectations beyond simple kindness and respect. Several parents mentioned how refreshing it was, how relaxed they felt. One dad joked that he usually dreaded family events. I realized I was building something real. Photos from Lily's museum day started circulating among distant relatives through social media tags. Lily laughing, Lily holding hands with friends, Lily's bright smile. The comments poured in. Such a sweet girl. You're an amazing mom, Jessica. Wish we could have been there. My immediate family saw them eventually. I knew because Amanda posted a vague status about people who use their kids for attention. I didn't respond. But I noticed something else. My mother liked several of the photos, then unliked them. My father commented, then deleted it. They were starting to feel something. Regret, maybe. Or shame. Either way, their absence was becoming visible to everyone. People were noticing the pattern. Several cousins messaged me privately, asking why my parents and siblings were never in any photos. I replied simply, they're usually busy. The truth spoke for itself. I didn't need to elaborate or explain. The photos told a story more powerful than any words could, a story of a happy child, a devoted mother, and a conspicuous absence of immediate family. The contrast was stark and undeniable. Some relatives started connecting the dots, remembering previous events where my family had been absent or dismissive. Conversations began happening in private messages and phone calls. People were reevaluating their perceptions, questioning narratives they'd accepted without examination. The truth was spreading organically. My neighbor posted something on the community page that caught my attention. Shout out to Jessica for being such an engaged, caring mom. Lily is so lucky. The post had dozens of likes and comments. People shared stories of seeing me at the playground, at school events, at the library. Someone wrote, wish my family treated my kids the same way. My family saw it, I know they did because my mother called that evening. People are talking, she said tightly. You're making us look bad. I almost laughed. I'm not making you look any way, Mom. I'm just being a good parent. She sputtered, searching for a response. Well, people are getting the wrong impression. I stayed calm. What impression is that? Silence. She hung up without answering. The public recognition was subtle but effective. People were seeing the truth without me saying a word. The neighbor's post had sparked a genuine conversation about parental involvement and family dynamics. Other parents shared their own struggles with extended family, creating a thread of mutual support and understanding. I contributed nothing to the conversation, but my name kept coming up as a positive example. It was validating and empowering to be recognized for something I did naturally, loving my daughter. My family's absence was noticeable precisely because my presence was so consistent. I showed up, participated, engaged. They didn't. That simple fact spoke louder than any accusation. My family invited me to a dinner the following week. We need to talk, my father's text read. I already had plans, a movie night with Lily and Nicole's family. I declined politely, watching the group chat explode with frustration. You're avoiding us, Amanda accused. You're being childish, Marcus added. My mother sent a long message about family obligations and respect. I put my phone down and enjoyed the movie. Lily laughed at all the funny parts, snuggled against me, completely content. Later, Nicole whispered, they hate that you're not playing their games anymore. She was right. For years, I had shown up, tried to please them, bent myself into shapes to earn their approval. Now I was living independently of their demands, and they couldn't stand it. The power dynamic had shifted, and they were scrambling to regain control. But I wasn't giving it back. The movie was an animated film about friendship and courage, themes that resonated deeply with our current situation. Lily was transfixed, completely absorbed in the story. During the emotional climax, she reached for my hand and held it tightly. Afterward, we discussed the characters and their choices, and I saw her processing lessons about loyalty. These were the moments that mattered, teaching my daughter through example and experience. My family wanted to talk, but they really wanted to lecture and control. I was done with that dynamic. 6 months after the birthday disaster, I organized what I called Lily's real birthday party. I invited neighbors, school friends, their parents, and a few genuine relatives. We rented a small party room at the community center, decorated with rainbows and unicorns, Lily's current obsessions. The turnout was incredible. 20 kids running around, laughing, playing games. Parents chatting warmly, complimenting the organization and thoughtfulness. Lily was radiant, surrounded by people who truly cared about her. I took photos and videos, capturing every joyful moment. The contrast to my family's betrayal 6 months earlier was stark and painful. But it was also proof that we had built something beautiful without them. When Lily blew out her candles, I saw pure happiness on her face. This was justice, quiet and complete. We didn't need them. We never had. The party room was perfect, spacious enough for energetic kids but cozy enough to feel intimate. We played musical chairs, pinned the horn on the unicorn, and had a treasure hunt that sent kids scrambling. The birthday cake was rainbow-layered inside, each slice revealing colorful stripes that made the kids gasp with delight. Parents helped supervise games, chatted about schools and summer plans. Several mentioned how well organized everything was, how happy Lily seemed. One mother pulled me aside and said, "This is what children's parties should be." I agreed completely. Amanda tried to guilt-trip me a week later. "You're tearing this family apart," she texted. "All because you can't handle a little disappointment." I stared at the message, feeling the old familiar anger rise. But I pushed it down, responding calmly instead. Lily had a wonderful birthday with people who care about her. That's all that matters. She fired back immediately. "You're so dramatic. It was just one party." I didn't respond. Her flustered reaction showed me everything I needed to know. She couldn't control the narrative anymore. I had taken that power away simply by refusing to engage with her manipulation. Later, my mother called, trying a softer approach. "We miss you," she said sweetly. "Can't we just move past this?" I almost believed her. Almost. Then I remembered Lily's face, crumpling with hurt. "No, Mom. We can't." I hung up, feeling stronger than ever. Amanda sent 3 more texts that I didn't open. My mother tried calling twice more, leaving voicemails that oscillated between apologies and accusations. I deleted them without listening fully. Their attempts to regain control were transparent and predictable. They wanted things back the way they were, me available for their convenience, tolerating their disrespect. But that version of me was gone. I had evolved past the need for their approval. Lily and I were building something new, something healthier. Their inability to acknowledge wrongdoing made reconciliation impossible. An unexpected message came from my cousin Tyler. We hadn't talked in years. "Hey, I've been watching from the sidelines," he wrote. "I always hated how Mom and Amanda treated you. They're bullies, honestly." I stared at the screen, shocked. Someone from inside the family was acknowledging the truth. We talked on the phone for an hour. He shared his own stories of being dismissed and controlled. "They do it to everyone," he said. "You're just the first one to stand up." His words validated everything I'd been feeling. I wasn't crazy or oversensitive. The patterns were real. Tyler promised to stay in touch, to support me however he could. This was a turning point. My family's hypocrisy was being exposed from within. Their carefully maintained image was cracking, and people were seeing the truth underneath. I felt vindicated, understood. I wasn't alone anymore. Tyler explained that he'd distanced himself years ago, moving across the country partly to escape the toxic dynamics. He'd watched from afar as I struggled with the same issues, wanting to reach out but uncertain how. When I saw what they did at Lily's birthday, I couldn't stay silent anymore, he said. That was cruel, even for them. We made plans to visit each other, to let Lily meet her cousin who actually cared. Tyler had kids of his own, and he suggested a joint family vacation. I continued documenting everything in my journal. Every missed event, every dismissive comment, every attempt at manipulation. This was my moral high ground, nothing illegal, nothing cruel, just undeniable truth. I had evidence of their patterns, proof that this wasn't about one birthday party or one misunderstanding. It was about years of systematic neglect and emotional abuse. I kept screenshots of texts, saved voicemails, noted dates and times. Not because I wanted to hurt them, but because I knew eventually they would try to rewrite history. They would claim I was overreacting, making things up, being dramatic. But I had proof. Cold, factual, indisputable proof. When the time came, if it came, I would be ready. For now, I simply continued building our beautiful life, one careful step at a time. The journal had become a therapeutic ritual. Each night after Lily went to bed, I spent 15 minutes recording the day's events. Sometimes there was nothing noteworthy to document, just peaceful, happy days filled with normal activities. Other times, I recorded attempted contacts from family members, their words and tone, my responses. I noted Lily's achievements and milestones, creating a positive record alongside the negative one. Reading back through previous entries, I could see our progress clearly. We were healing, growing stronger. The documentation served multiple purposes, evidence if needed, but also a reminder of how far we'd come. Lily's teacher called me one afternoon. I wanted you to know how proud we are of Lily, she said warmly. She's kind, confident, and shows real leadership with the other children. My heart swelled. Despite everything, Lily was thriving. My parents attended the next school event, their first in months. They sat in the back, whispering to each other. Lily barely noticed them. When the event ended, they approached me stiffly. She's doing well, my father said awkwardly. Yes, she is, I replied calmly. They waited for more, perhaps expecting me to invite them back into our lives. I said nothing. The silence stretched uncomfortably. Finally, they left, looking confused and frustrated. I watched them go, feeling a quiet satisfaction. They were always a step behind now, scrambling to catch up to a life they had willingly abandoned. The power was mine. The teacher had specifically mentioned instances of Lily helping younger students, sharing supplies without being asked, and mediating small disputes with wisdom beyond her years. Whatever you're doing at home, keep doing it, she'd said. Lily's emotional intelligence is remarkable. I knew exactly what I was doing, modeling healthy boundaries, demonstrating self-respect, showing her through actions that people who don't value you don't deserve access. These weren't lessons I was teaching explicitly, but Lily absorbed them through observation. She was learning that love meant showing up. At a casual family dinner months later, one I attended only because Tyler begged me to, I decided it was time. My family sat around the table, pretending everything was fine. I waited until dessert, then spoke calmly. I want to talk about Lily's birthday. The table went silent. You all walked out on a 5-year-old child, I continued, my voice steady. You didn't apologize. You didn't even acknowledge it. My mother started to interrupt, but I held up my hand. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. I stood up, gathering my things. Lily and I are fine. We've built a life surrounded by people who actually care. You're welcome to be part of it, but only if you can treat us with respect. I walked out, head high. Behind me, I heard stunned silence. It felt powerful, speaking my truth without anger or drama. Just facts, delivered calmly. Justice. Tyler followed me out, giving me a quick hug before I left. That was brave, he whispered. Inside, I could hear raised voices starting, family members arguing about what had just happened. I didn't care anymore. I'd said what needed to be said, drawn the boundary clearly. Whether they chose to respect it was up to them, but their choice wouldn't affect my peace. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in years. The weight of their expectations had lifted completely. Word spread quickly after that dinner. Tyler told me later that several relatives called my parents, asking what happened at Lily's birthday. The truth came out, not from me, but from their own guilty consciences and the questions of others. Relatives who had seen my social media posts, who had noticed the pattern of absence, started connecting the dots. My family tried to explain, to justify their actions. But the narrative had already shifted. Everyone could see what they had done, could see the pattern of selfishness and neglect. Subtle shame crept into family gatherings. Amanda stopped posting about family on social media. My mother became defensive whenever anyone asked about Lily. Marcus avoided eye contact at events. They realized, slowly, that their actions had consequences. Not dramatic, explosive ones, but quiet, steady ones. Their reputation was damaged, and they had done it to themselves. Tyler reported that the family gathering after I left had turned into a heated argument. Some relatives had defended me, citing their own observations of my parents' treatment over the years. Others remained loyal to my parents, but their defenses sounded weak even to their own ears. The family was fracturing along lines of honesty versus enablement. Those who valued authenticity sided with me, those who preferred comfortable lies sided with my parents. I didn't gloat about this division. It saddened me, actually. But I recognized it was necessary. Truth has a way of forcing people to choose sides. A year after the birthday disaster, I threw the first annual Lily Appreciation Day. 20 kids, their families, neighbors, genuine relatives. We rented a park pavilion, set up games, grilled food, and celebrated everything wonderful about my daughter. My family wasn't invited. They heard about it through social media, saw the photos of Lily laughing and surrounded by love. My mother called, her voice small. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Maybe," I replied. "But only if you're ready to truly change." She didn't answer. The event became a tradition, happening every year. Lily grew up knowing she was cherished, celebrated, and valued. My family remained on the sidelines, watching from a distance. Some of them eventually apologized, slowly rebuilding trust. Others never did. But it didn't matter anymore. I had won, not through cruelty or revenge, but by creating something beautiful. Justice wasn't about making them suffer. It was about building a life of joy and respect for my daughter, while they faced the natural consequences of their own choices. We were victorious, calm, and proud. And we had done it all ourselves. The Lily Appreciation Day had become the highlight of our year, something friends and neighbors marked on their calendars months in advance. It represented everything good about chosen family, people showing up because they wanted to, celebrating genuinely. Lily understood now, in her own way, that some people earn their place in your life. She never asked about her grandparents or aunt and uncle anymore. She had everything she needed.